In the last episode I was talking to you about cables, and specifically speaker cables and interconnects, and that theme continues for this episode, because in the last episode I stated that despite being 46 years old and having, as a result, limited hearing, my ears are able to hear the difference between different types of speaker cable. Yet they're not able to hear the difference between various types of interconnects. But we shall get onto that. And in the last video I explained that I was using this cable here, this generic bi-wire 18 AWG or 1mm core speaker cable. And I also made a reference to a more pricey one. And, well, here it is, the very thing, 2 lengths of it in fact. This is QED Silver Anniversary XT speaker cable. Retails here in Britain for about £6.49 per metre. For American viewers that's $10 for just over 3 feet, so about $3 a foot. It's not very thick either. Described itself as 16 AWG, and I've got 9 metres of it here, which works out at just over £58, and if you're an American, well, that's $90 for 30 feet. So what on earth am I doing spending £58 on speaker cables? Well, I'm not. Obviously I wouldn't be silly enough to do that sort of thing, because I don't have £58 to spend on humble speaker cables. There was a thing called eBay, and occasionally it's fantastic because it shows you these wonderful products, and sometimes you can pick them up for a very reasonable price, and that's what I did here. £58 or $90 worth of speaker cable. And what makes this one so interesting? Well, what they did was they took their finest quality OFC copper, those little strands, plated them in silver, then braided it around a hollow plastic tube. So you've got like a hollow tube in the middle. And then finally encased it in their clear outer tubing. So you got the outer tube and the inner, well, I'll just explain it. Why should I try and explain it again? But it's they've done this because there is this phenomenon in when it comes to cables and electricity known as the skin effect, where signals are transmitted through the cable strands, but they tend to gravitate towards the outer part of the strands, like the skin of the cable, and apparently it affects the higher frequencies, the treble frequencies. And QED, in their wisdom, they've decided to overcome this by taking those cable strands and wrapping them around a hollow core, which apparently reduces the skin effect. And the other thing they did was they took that OFC, oxygen-free copper, and silver plated it, because apparently silver plated copper gives an enhanced treble response. And so if you've got a system that needs a kick in the trousers, such as mine, with all bass and precious little treble, well, you can have treble, but a little too polite for your taste, then a cable such as this apparently will do the trick. And yes, I'm game enough to believe that. So we shall be putting that to the test. $90, £58. Now, the other thing, of course, was interconnects. As I said in the previous episode, I'm perfectly happy to use these because in the past, I have attempted to use the more exotic cables. I've used Audio Quest Jade. I've used Cambridge Audio Arctic. I've even used a monster cable. And I've found that, I haven't been able to, honestly, even with younger, more receptive hearing, I could not hear the difference between those beefy cables and these humble little ones here. And that situation is maintained to this very day. These, they may not look like much, but to my ears, they serve the purpose. So here's the challenge. Any interconnect manufacturers out there, such as QED, who incidentally manufacture this fine cable. So QED, Cambridge Audio, the Chord Company, Audio Quest, and all those wonderful companies out there who manufacture interconnects and want us to believe that they will sound better than these and give us a more rewarding listen. I don't believe you. And I challenge you, send me one of your cables. I will give it a good listening test. I will review it for you. And, I'll be open-minded if I hear any difference. For example, the cable that runs between my phono amplifier and my main amplifier. It's a 1/2 metre, cheapy OFC cable. It claims to be OFC, and it's budget. It was about £3, and for me it does the job. And yes, it's a turntable, so it sounds rich and smooth and soupy, and it's not very treble happy. So, do you honestly believe that your interconnect can give my vinyl playback that kick in the nads that it deserves? Then by all means, send me your cable. I understand the Chord Company do one called the C line, which is supposed to, be the interconnect equivalent to this QED cable. Okay, let me review it. I will happily do that for you. But in the meantime, let's get down to work with this speaker cable. Okay, well, I've had my fun. I've done the old listening tests, comparing the two sets of cables, playing many of my favourites from CDs and vinyl, which I've decided not to include in this video for the obvious reason: copyrights. You know how it is. Everything I was playing and listening to would just trigger the copyright boss, and it would just, why even bother? So, the results of the listening test comparing the old by-wire cable and the new QED cable, which is not by-wire, it's only single wire. The results was astounding. Was it so great that I was able to turn the treble control back to the 0 position, back to the 12 o'clock? No, not quite. But I wouldn't call it an increase in treble content. It's certainly very much more pronounced. It really does sparkle and shimmer more, and it does sound brighter, and it will be hard to convey it on this iPhone of mine, with its built-in microphone. But the result was very pleasing indeed, and I put on a couple of pieces of vinyl, including my Jeff Lynne Armchair Theatre LP, which is notorious in that it has almost no treble content at all. Certainly sounded that little bit more listenable. As for the another one, like the Cane Gang LP, which I tried in a previous edition, it's quite faithful in terms of treble, and was certainly more so when listening to it through the QED cable. So, was it a good purchase? Absolutely. Well and truly. I consider myself lucky that I was able to obtain this amount of cable for such a little price. But would I have paid £58.41 for it? Probably not, because I just don't have the income for that. I'm a full-time stay-at-home carer. Money is in short supply and I've got to live within my means, and I was just very fortunate that some of this cable went up for the bargain price of £12.50. I couldn't resist it. But for those who can afford it, is it worth spending £6.49 per metre? Or if you're American, $3 a foot? I would say yes, if your system needs a bit of waking up, if you need that bit more treble clarity, and if you find the bass is a bit ploddy and needs tightening up, brought to order, then it is a very capable cable. QED, they have quite a track record when it comes to producing speaker cables. They've been winning awards for many years, and they continue to win those awards and 5-star reviews. So yes, it's a very, very capable speaker cable, the Silver Anniversary XT. So yes, it gets my recommendation. If you've got the money, well, don't be afraid to spend it. It comes recommended. But if you're a poor little pauper like me, well, you just have to rely on eBay and luck. And once again, if there's any interconnect manufacturers out there who wish to take me up on my challenge, because as I said, my ears just don't be able to hear the difference between in-the-box interconnects and something a bit more pricey. But if you believe I'm missing out on something, then send me your wares. I shall review them with a careful ear and post the result for everyone to, well, to chew over. Okay, thank you for watching.